Before diving into any studies, we need to lay some groundwork. Take a step back and consider something foundational: semantics. Words are not just descriptions. They are lenses shaped by worldview, culture, and experience. For example, take the concept of a malevolent non-human intelligence, or NHI. A Christian might label the entity a demon. A Muslim may call it a djinn. And an agnostic biologist might refrain from naming it at all. The words may differ, but they could be pointing to the same entities. According to UFO lore, there are multiple types and groups of NHI interacting with us, adding another layer of complexity. This has now been backed up by intelligence officer and whistleblower David Grusch.
Do we know, or would you have an understanding of how many of them we're talking about and the variety of them?
Well, yeah, there is a variety, and we have a certain number of different things. But the total numbers of what's interacting with us on Earth, I mean, nobody knows that. And I mean,
but there's an understanding of some that they do believe are interacting with us, and there's a variety in terms of there's variables.
Yeah, I talked to people who are familiar with the biological analysis and everything. So we have some idea, not a complete picture.
This means we may not only be applying different labels to the same entity, but we might also be giving the same label to entirely different kinds of beings.
Are they large? Are they multiple species? What was their size? And how many are usually on a craft?
They're typically the multiple species. People are familiar with the Greys, the Nordics. People have talked about reptilians and insectoids. It's not that they're reptilian or insectoid, it's that they resemble to the Pacific, a reptile or an insect type humanoid.
These words serve as shortcuts to help us reduce complex ideas down to something more understandable. But in the end, they are just that: words. As cognitive neuroscientist Donald Hoffman explains, words are pointers, not the things themselves.
All of our concepts fail, ultimately. They're pointers to the reality, but they're not the reality. In the following very, very simple sense, the word mint versus the experience of mint. Of course, the word mint is nothing like the experience of mint. And the word mint doesn't explain the experience of mint. And it's not a theory of the experience of mint. If you want to know mint, the experience of mint, you have to taste it yourself. You have to know it firsthand. And then someone else can say, that is what I mean by the word mint. So you have to have the experience yourself. And then the words can point to it. Whatever reality is, you can only make pointers to it. And even our scientific theories will only be pointers to it. And they're only pointers to a perspective. And maybe what science does is it gives us the most rigorous descriptions we can give, pointers from a perspective. And the fact that we can do technology doesn't mean that we know the truth. It means that we have a good description of this perspective. And so the match of the scientific description to a perspective, not the ultimate, the ultimate truth transcends. But the perspective description, getting that right, does allow technology.
The words we use are imbued with meaning through shared experiences, but they are still projections of our limited perspective. Until we all collectively agree upon better terms, people will continue to use the labels they're most familiar with. Labels shaped by their upbringing, belief systems, and worldview. Consider how terms like soul, spirit, mind, or consciousness are often used interchangeably. Quantum field, universal field, Akashic records, God, source, universal consciousness, or Brahma. These words may all be describing the same essence or reality, but with different connotations depending upon cultural or religious context. This doesn't make any label wrong, but it does reveal how differently we frame the same underlying concepts to fit our perspectives. Now let's address an elephant in the room. Words like woo, magic, and spiritual carry considerable baggage. In modern usage, they often come with a negative or dismissive tone, sometimes thrown around to undermine legitimacy. Worse, they are frequently confused with religious belief, further muddying the waters of serious inquiry. For centuries, our ancestors have used terms like magic or spiritual simply because they didn't have the language or knowledge to describe natural phenomena as we do today. As science advances, concepts once labeled as mystical or supernatural are now understood as fundamental parts of our universe. And as we edge closer to understanding the true nature of reality, we will need to continue to refine or even invent new words to express these concepts properly. You see this in etymology, or the study of how language changes over time. Words evolve across different cultures through the eras and advancements. Concepts like hermeticism, shamanism, magic, or yoga have become telepathy, precognition, and now remote viewing. UFOs became UAP, and aliens or extraterrestrials are now often under the umbrella of non-human intelligence. Whether through the lens of quantum mechanics, consciousness, or the UFO phenomena, we are constantly redefining our language. Our current scientific paradigms might not yet have the vocabulary to fully describe the intricacies of consciousness or higher dimensions. So we need to stay humble and open-minded. We must recognize that words are temporary placeholders, limited by our present knowledge rather than absolute truths.